Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone Chapter 12, The Mirror Erased, page 197 to 199. Just one, said Hermione, and that reminds me, Harry. Ron, we've got half an hour before lunch. We should be in the library. Oh yeah, you're right, said Ron, tearing his eyes away from Professor Flitwick, who had golden bubbles blossoming out of his wand and was trailing them over the branches of the new tree. The library, said Hagrid, following them out of the hall. Just before the holiday? A bit keen, aren't you? Oh, we're not working, said he told him brightly. Ever since you mentioned Nicholas Flamel, we've been trying to find out who he is. You what? Hagrid looked shocked. Listen here, I have told you. You drop it. It's nothing to you what the dog's guarding. We just want to know who Nicholas Flamel is. That's all, said Hermione. Unless you like to tell us and save us the trouble, Harry added. We must have been through hundreds of books already. We can't find him anywhere. Just give us a hint. I know. I've read his name somewhere. I'm saying nothing, said Hagrid, flatly. Just have to find out for ourselves then, said Ron. They left Hagrid, looking disgruntled, and hurried off to the library. They had indeed been searching books for Flamel's name ever since Hagrid had let it slip. Because how else were they going to find out what Snape was trying to steal? The trouble was, it was very hard to know where to begin, not knowing what Flamel might have done to get himself into a book. He wasn't in the great wizards of the 20th century. What a notable magical names of our time. He was missing, too, from important modern magical discoveries and a study of recent developments in wizardry. And then, of course, there was the sheer size of the library, tens of thousands of books, thousands of shelves, hundreds of narrow rows. Hermione took out a list of subjects and titles she had decided to search while Ron strolled off down a row of books and started pulling them off the shelves at random. Harry wandered over to the restricted section. He had been wondering for a while if Flamel wasn't somewhere in there. Unfortunately, it needed a specially signed note from one of the teachers to look in any of the restricted books, and he knew he'd never get one. There were the books containing powerful dark magic, never taught at Hogwarts, and only read by all the students studying advanced defense against the dark arts. What are you looking for, boy? Nothing, said Harry. Madame Pince, the librarian, brandished the feather duster at him. You better get out, then go on out. Wishing he'd been a bit quicker at thinking of some story, Harry left the library. Ron and Hermione had already agreed they would not ask Madame Pince where they could find Flamel. They were sure they should be able to tell them, but they couldn't risk Snape hearing what they were up to. Harry waited outside in the corridor to see if the other two had found anything, but he wasn't very hopeful. They had been looking for 2 weeks after all, but as they only had odd moments between lessons, it wasn't surprising they had found nothing. What they really needed was a nice long search without Madame Pince breathing down their necks. 5 minutes later, Ron and Hermione joined him, and shaking their heads, they went off to lunch. You will keep looking while I'm away, won't you? Said Hermione. And send me an owl if you find anything. And you could ask your parents if they know who Flamel is, said Ron. It'd be safe to ask them. But it's safe, as they are both dentists, said Hermione. Once the holidays had started, Ron and Harry were having too good a time to think much about Flamel. They had a dormitory to themselves, and the common room was far emptier than usual, so they were able to get the good armchairs by the fire. They sat by the hour eating anything they could spare on a toasting fork, bread, English muffin, marshmallow, and the plotting ways of getting Malfoy expelled, which were fun to talk about even if they wouldn't work. Ron also started teaching Harry wizard chess. This was exactly like Muggle chess except that the figures were alive, which made it a lot like directing troops in battle. Ron the set was very old and battered like everything else he owned. It had once belonged to someone else in his family, in this case his grandfather. However, all the chessmen wanna draw back at all. Ron knew them so well. He never had trouble getting them to do what he wanted. Harry played with chessmen. Seamus the Finnegan had lent him. And they didn't trust him at all. He wasn't a very good player yet, and they kept shouting different bits of advice, which was confusing. Don't send me there. Can't you see he's nice? Send him. We can't afford to lose him. The end.